The galaxy was burning. Star systems that had lived in peace for thousands of years were now under attack. Planets once full of life were falling one by one. The enemy came fast, like a storm, crushing everything in its path. They were called the Zorth Dominion, a powerful alien empire from the edge of the galaxy. No one had heard of them before. Now, everyone feared their name. Their ships were huge, dark, and silent. Their weapons were deadly. Their soldiers felt no fear, showed no mercy. The Galactic Alliance, made of hundreds of alien races, was helpless. They had always kept peace by working together. They believed in trade, in talks, in treaties. They never expected someone to come who didn't want to talk, someone who only wanted to conquer. The Alliance tried to stop the Zorth. They sent fleets. They used their best commanders. But nothing worked. In every battle, the Zorth won. Their ships were stronger. Their tactics were smarter. Their numbers were growing. In just 5 months, the Zorth had taken over 80 worlds. Now, the Alliance. High Council met on the floating city of Delvora Prime. It was one of the last safe places. All major alien leaders were there, gathered inside the Grand Hall. The air was full of fear and tension. "We are losing," said High Speaker Tovek, a tall insect-like being with glowing eyes. "We must surrender, or they will destroy all of us." "No," shouted General Serax, a lizard-skinned warrior from the planet Vexer. "If we surrender, we are already dead. We must fight." "With what?" asked another leader. "We have no more ships, no more soldiers. Our people are afraid. They are running." The room went silent. No one had answers. Suddenly, a soft voice spoke. "There is one more option," said Ambassador Ralvik, a small, quiet alien with 4 arms and soft purple skin. He had not spoken much before. Everyone turned to look at him. Ralvik continued, "There's a race from a far-off world, a planet called Earth. They are humans." The council murmured. Some laughed, some frowned. "Humans?" Tovek raised an eyebrow. "You mean the unstable species from the outer spiral? The ones who argue with each other and fight for fun?" "Yes," Ralvik said calmly. "They are not part of the Alliance. They were invited, but they refused. They like to be alone. But I studied them. I watched them for years. Their history is full of war. They never give up, even when the enemy is stronger." General Serax crossed his arms. "That sounds dangerous. Why would we trust them?" Ralvik shook his head. "Because they know how to win. They survive against impossible odds. When everything is lost, they find a way. If we call them, maybe, just maybe, we have a chance." The council was silent again. This time, they were thinking. "They might say no," said one leader. "They refused to join us before." "Then we will beg," Ralvik replied. "We have nothing left to lose." High Speaker Tovek finally nodded. "Prepare the message. Send it to Earth. Tell them, we need help, far across the stars." On a blue planet called Earth, alarms went off inside a tall tower of the Global Command Center. Inside the control room, many humans stood around glowing screens. Messages from space were rare. This one had Special Codes Alliance emergency codes. General Elena Ward, leader of Earth's Defense Force, entered the room. She was tall, calm, and always in control. Her uniform was simple, but her presence was powerful. "Show me the message," she said. The hologram appeared. It showed the damage done by the Zorth, burning planets, destroyed fleets, crying refugees. Then, the face of Ambassador Ralvik appeared. "To the humans of Earth," he said, "the galaxy needs you. We cannot win this war. We ask no. We beg for your help. Only you can turn the tide. Please, answer our call." The message ended. General Ward looked around. Her officers waited for her word. "They finally called," she said softly. "I always knew they would." A younger officer spoke up. "Ma'am, the Zorth are too strong. If the whole galaxy couldn't stop them, how can we?" General Ward turned to him. Her eyes were sharp. "Because we are not like them." She walked to the center of the room and gave the command. "Wake the fleet. Bring out the deep space ships. Call the Black Watch. Activate every AI commander. And send a message back to the Alliance." She paused. "Tell them Earth is coming. Inside Earth's secret shipyards, giant machines roared to life. Massive starships rose from hidden bunkers. They were black, sharp-edged, and bristling with weapons. These were not peacekeepers. They were built for war, built in secret, built for moments just like this. Teams of engineers rushed to prepare systems not used for years. Soldiers trained in underground bases stepped into their armor. Pilots climbed into fighters that had no equal. One special ship stood taller than the rest of the Iron Dawn. It was Earth's most powerful warship. Many believed it was just a myth. Now, it was real, and it was ready. Back on Delvaro Prime, the Alliance received Earth's reply. A simple message: we fight. Ambassador Ralvik smiled when he saw it. He turned to High Speaker Tovek. They are coming, he said. Let us hope, Tovek replied, that they are everything you say they are. Ralvik looked out the window, into the stars. They are more, he whispered. The odds may be overwhelming, but the humans are worse than any odds. The stars were quiet, but the silence didn't last long. From the far edge of the galaxy, a new fleet entered the star lanes. These ships didn't glow with beauty like the Alliance ships. They were dark, sharp, and full of quiet danger. They looked like machines built for only one thing: war. They were human ships. Each ship had thick armor, rotating defense systems, and strange weapons no one had seen before. Their engines were faster than expected. Their movements were cold and controlled. They looked like shadows of judgment flying through space. At the front of the fleet was the massive warship, the Iron Dawn. It was 3 times bigger than the next largest ship in the Alliance. Its outer shell was lined with strange metal, glowing in soft blue lines. No one could scan it. No one could guess its full strength. Inside the bridge of the Iron Dawn, General Elena Ward stood silently, arms crossed. Her eyes watched the stars, calm and steady. Around her, officers worked on glowing panels, checking systems and preparing for battle. Status, Ward asked. All systems green. Fleet is in formation. We'll arrive in the Elios system in 2 minutes, said Commander Ruiz, her second in command. Ward nodded. And the enemy? Zorth fleet has surrounded the planet Elios Prime. Alliance defenders are trying to hold, but they won't last much longer. Then we don't keep them waiting, Ward replied. In the Elios system, the planet Elios Prime was under siege. Zorth warships floated in orbit like hungry sharks. Their beams had already torn through most of the defending ships. Fires burned in the sky. The Alliance fleet was down to half strength. Admiral Korvek, a bulky alien with silver scales, stood on the bridge of his damaged flagship. His voice was tired. His eyes were heavy. We can't hold them much longer, he said. One of his officers shouted, new contacts arriving at high speed. Everyone looked at the screen. Strange symbols appeared. Ships, human ships. Korvek stared in disbelief. They came. The humans arrived with no speeches. No greetings. No delay. They came like a storm. The Iron Dawn led the charge. Its cannons roared with thunder, sending giant energy bolts across space. Zorth's ships were fast, but not fast enough. One enemy ship exploded in flames, then another, and another. Human fighters swarmed around enemy cruisers. Their movements were strange, zigzagging, flipping, dodging shots with perfect timing. Each fighter had its own AI system, reacting faster than any alien pilot could, from a distance. It looked like a dance of death. The Zorth tried to fight back. They launched missiles. They used gravity beams, but the humans had answers for everything. The Iron Dawn released a blast from its main weapon, a long blue beam that tore through a Zorth command ship in one strike. The explosion was so bright it lit up the planet below. Inside the Alliance flagship, Admiral Korvek watched with wide eyes. They're destroying them, one of his crew whispered. The humans fight like nothing we've seen before. In the command ship of the Zorth fleet, Warlord Krez, a tall, armored figure with red eyes, growled. He stared at the screen showing human ships destroying his forces. Who are these new enemies? He roared. A Zorth officer replied, a known species. Their tactics are unpredictable. Their weapons are dangerous. Our fleet is falling apart. Krez clenched his claws. Unacceptable. Send everything. Crush them. But it was too late. The humans didn't stop. They kept pushing, breaking the Zorth lines apart. Their ships moved as one like a single mind. Every time a Zorth ship turned to escape, it was met with fire. The humans were not just winning. They were dominating. Down on Elios Prime, the people saw light in the sky. They thought it was the end. Then they heard the signal. A voice echoed through the comms, speaking calm and clear. "This is General Eleanor Ward of Earth. We are here. Hold the line." The people cheered. The defenders fought back harder, now full of hope. For the first time since the war began, the Zorth were retreating. After the battle, the humans didn't celebrate. They stayed quiet, calm, focused. In orbit, the remaining Alliance ships gathered near the Iron Dawn. Admiral Korvac sent a message to General Ward. "You saved the planet. Thank you," he said. Ward replied, "Don't thank us yet. This was just one battle. The war is far from over." Ralvik, the ambassador who first suggested calling the humans, was present during the message. He watched Ward's face and smiled. He had been right. High Speaker Tovek, watching from Delvaro Prime, finally admitted, "We were wrong about the humans." That night, across the galaxy, the stories spread. Humans had arrived. They were not part of the Alliance. They were not trained in galactic diplomacy, but they knew how to fight, and they fought with fire, speed, and fury. Children in broken cities whispered about them. Soldiers in distant trenches smiled in hope. Even some Zorth commanders began to fear. Because something had changed, the odds had shifted. The galaxy was no longer silent. Every news channel, every starport, every open comm across the stars was repeating the same thing. Humans have entered the war. People talked about how Earth's warships destroyed the Zorth fleet over Elios Prime. They spoke about the Iron Dawn and its deadly power. Children played with toy human fighters. Even the most hopeless planets felt something strange hope. But General Eleanor Ward was not celebrating. She stood inside the command center of the Iron Dawn, eyes focused on a large star map. It showed dozens of systems still under Zorth control. "They're regrouping," she said. "They will hit back harder next time." Commander Ruiz stepped beside her. "We have one chance to surprise them before that." Ward nodded. "Then, we take it." The plan was risky. The next Zorth target was the Thalos system. Home to a peaceful water world called Thalos V, it had no military strength, but it was rich in rare energy crystals. If the Zorth captured it, they could power their fleets for years. The Alliance believed Thalos V would fall easily, but the humans thought differently. "We don't wait for them to attack," Ward told the Alliance commanders in a private meeting. "We strike first. We trap them at Thalos. We show them this galaxy doesn't belong to them." Some leaders were shocked. "You want to attack the Zorth directly? They outnumber us," Ward simply replied. "That's never stopped us before." After a long pause, Admiral Korvac spoke up. "The humans have earned our trust. Let them lead this operation." And so, the first human-led attack was approved. 3 days later, the human fleet arrived at the edge of the Thalos system. The stars were calm. No Zorth ships had arrived yet. "They're late," said Ruiz. "No," Ward replied. "They're just careful now." The Iron Dawn hid behind one of the system's moons, cloaked by a special field. Smaller human ships spread out, hiding behind asteroids and space dust. They powered down all lights and engines, becoming part of the darkness. It was a trap. Then, the enemy came. Zorth ships entered the system like a growing storm. Over 70 warships, including 3 command carriers. "They're here," said a human pilot. "And they're heading straight for Thalos V." General Ward gave one command. "Wait." The Zorth moved in slowly, scanning the system. They had learned. From their last loss, they were looking for human ships. But they found nothing. Warlord Krez sat inside his flagship, confident again. "They're cowards," he said. "They ran after Elios." His officers nodded. "The humans are nowhere in sight." "Good," Krez said. "Then this world will burn." But just as the first Zorth ships reached orbit over Thalos V, something strange happened. The planet's dark side suddenly lit up, not from the sun, but from hundreds of small human drones rising from underwater bases. Each drone sent A signal now. The sky exploded. From behind moons, from asteroid fields, from the cold void. The human fleet jumped forward at once. Missiles, railguns, and energy beams filled space with fire. Zorth ships tried to turn. But it was too late. Dozens were hit in the first 30 seconds. Fireballs lit up space. The Iron Dawn charged through the chaos like a lion in a herd. Inside, the human warships, officers, and A's worked together in perfect timing, target locked. Firing main cannon, shield recharge in 12 seconds. Human tactics were strange to the Zorth. They used fake retreat paths, surprise jumps, and sudden dives into gravity wells. Their machines were not just weapons, they were hunters, warlord. Krez growled as his screen showed one red mark after another. Where did they come from? One Zorth officer shouted. They set a trap. They tricked us. Krez stood up, eyes full of rage. Yes, they used our own methods against us. Krez clenched his fists. Then fight harder. But it didn't help. In just 1 hour, the battlefield had changed. The Zorth fleet was broken into pieces. Some tried to escape, but human ships chased them down. One human frigate, the Valkyria, flew straight through enemy fire to destroy a carrier. It lost half its outer shell, but kept flying. Even the Alliance ships who had arrived late to assist watched in awe. Admiral Korvek's ship joined the fight beside human cruisers. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. They're fearless, Ralvik, watching from a distance, smiled. No, they're prepared. At the center of the chaos, the Iron Dawn faced the Zorth flagship. The two giants fired at each other with full power. The Iron Dawn's shields glowed bright, taking hit after hit, but its cannons were stronger. General Ward stood on the bridge. Silent as the battle raged, she waited. Watched. Enemy flagship's armor is weakening, said Ruiz. Finish it, Ward said. The Iron Dawn's main cannon charged and fired. A white-blue beam cut through the Zorth command ship like a sword. Through paper, it cracked open and exploded. Warlord Krez escaped in a damaged escape pod, screaming in rage. But the battle was over. Human victory was complete. Thalos V was saved. Not a single civilian was harmed. More than 50 Zorth ships were destroyed. The rest ran. The humans had shown the galaxy they were not here to play defense. They were here to win. Later that night, across the galaxy, people celebrated. Alien leaders who once mocked Earth now requested meetings. Young cadets in training said, "I want to fight like the humans." Even the darkest corners of space whispered a new truth. The tide had turned inside. The Iron Dawn, General Ward looked at the stars again. She didn't smile. She didn't rest. There's more to do, she said. Ruiz nodded. The Zorth will not stop. Then neither will we, Ward replied. She pressed a button and opened a channel to the entire fleet. This is General Ward. You fought well today. But remember, this is just the beginning. Our enemy is strong, but we are stronger together. We will push them back system by system, world by world. We don't stop until the last Zorth ship is dust. Across the human fleet, cheers erupted, and the Iron Dawn, still shining with firelight, turned toward the next battle. The Zorth Dominion was angry. After losing the Thalos battle, their pride was crushed. Warlord Krez had never been defeated before. Now he sat in silence, watching a broken screen inside a damaged war room. His red eyes burned with rage. Humans, he hissed, they fight like no one else. His officers stood quiet. None of them dared to speak. One finally whispered, "What do we do now?" Warlord Krez stood up slowly. His voice was cold. "We gather everything, every ship, every soldier. We crush them before they grow stronger." He pointed to the star map. "We strike at the Veranos Belt." The Veranos Belt was a cluster of small planets and mining colonies. It was rich in fuel and resources. More importantly, it was now the main supply line for the human-led forces. If the Zorth took it, Earth's fleet would lose its lifeline. The humans knew it was important, but they didn't know how fast the Zorth would move. In just 5 days, over 200 enemy ships arrived near the belt. It was the largest fleet the galaxy had seen since the beginning of the war. They came with fire and fury. burning small stations and cutting off trade routes. Panic spread quickly inside the Iron Dawn. Alarms echoed across the bridge. General Eleanor Ward studied the reports with a calm but focused face. "They're trying to trap us," said Commander Ruiz. "They want to cut us off, starve us, then destroy us." Ward nodded. "They've studied our tactics. Now they want to outplay us." She turned to her officers. "Ready every ship. We don't run. We hold the line." The human fleet moved into the Verano's belt. It was smaller, just 40 ships, including the Iron Dawn. But every ship was loaded with upgraded weapons and well-trained crews. They had fought side by side now for weeks. They trusted each other. They trusted Earth. Admiral Korvac and a few Alliance ships joined the human fleet. Though fewer in number, the aliens followed General Ward's lead. "She is fearless," Korvac said. "We follow her." The two fleets met near the third asteroid ring. The sky became a battlefield. The Zorth attacked hard. Missiles rained down. Plasma beams sliced through space. The humans returned fire, using tight formations and smart movements. Fighter pilots danced between laser blasts. Human drones flew in patterns that confused enemy sensors. Earthsaves created false signals, tricking the enemy into chasing fake ships. But even with all their skill, the numbers were too high. Human ships began to take damage. 2 were lost in the first star. Inside the Iron Dawn, the power systems shook. Sparks flew from the ceiling. "We've got damage on Deck 5, shouted an officer. "Enemy ships closing in," said another. Ruiz looked at Ward. "We're surrounded." Ward didn't panic. She stared at the map. "Tell every ship to fall back toward the asteroid field. We make our stand there." The fleet moved into the thick asteroid field. It was risky, tight space, poor visibility. But General Ward had a plan. "We use the field as cover," she said. "Split the fleet into 5 groups. Each one hides in a different section. They'll think we're gone." Ruiz raised an eyebrow. "And then we hit them from every direction." The message was sent. Human and Alliance ships scattered like ghosts into the rocks. The Zorth fleet entered the belt, chasing shadows. Inside his command ship, Warlord Krez growled. Where did they go? His officers scanned space again and again. But all they saw were rocks, ice, and broken stations. Then the attacks began. Small human ships shot from the asteroids, fired missiles, and disappeared again. Another group flew in from the side, attacking engines and vanishing. The Zorth couldn't aim properly. Their big ships couldn't turn fast enough in the narrow space. They were confused, angry, and off balance. They're everywhere. A Zorth officer screamed. We can't see them. Krez slammed his fist. Find their leader. Kill her. End this. But General Ward was already preparing the final move. She waited deep inside the field. The Iron Dawn fully powered and hidden behind a large asteroid. Enemy flagship has entered the center of the belt, said Ruiz. Ward nodded. All groups now. Suddenly, every human and allied ship moved at once. From every corner of the belt, they attacked together. It was a perfect ambush. Lasers, missiles, torpedoes all hit at the same time. The Zorth fleet was caught in a storm of fire. Ships exploded. Command carriers broke apart. Their formation collapsed. The Iron Dawn flew forward, charging toward the Zorth flagship. Its main cannon powered up. Fire, Ward said. The blast tore through space, smashing into the enemy flagship. The shields failed. The armor cracked. Explosions lit up the ship from within. Inside, Warlord Krez felt the deck shake. He looked at the burning walls and knew. We underestimated them. The flagship exploded in a bright flash. Silence returned to the Verano's belt. The human fleet stood victorious. They had lost 7 ships. Many were damaged. But they had defeated a fleet 5 times their size. Admiral Korvac sent a message to Ward. You just saved the supply line. And maybe the whole war. Ward replied. This was only the turning point. The real battle is still ahead, across the galaxy. The news spread. The humans had won again. Even when trapped, even when outnumbered. Aliens and distant systems started building statues of Earth's heroes. More worlds began to join the human-led defense. Even some Zorth soldiers started to doubt. They asked their leaders in secret, "What if the humans can't be stopped?" On Delvoro Prime, the Alliance Council held a meeting. High Speaker Tovek stood and addressed the room. For the first time, the Zorth have lost ground. For the first time, they retreat. He turned toward the screen showing the Iron Dawn. And it is because of Earth, because of General Elena Ward. The council members stood and clapped. Ambassador Ralvik simply smiled. "I told you," he whispered. "Call the humans when the odds are impossible, because impossible is what they beat." Inside the Iron Dawn, Ward sat alone in her quarters. She stared at a picture of Earth blue, calm, and far away. She whispered, "We're not done yet." Outside her window, the stars waited, and the fleet, though bruised and tired, was ready to move again. Because Earth didn't run. Earth didn't surrender. Earth led. The galaxy had changed. The Zorth Dominion was no longer unbeatable. Their fleets had been crushed at Phalos and shattered in the Vranos belt. Their name no longer caused fear but anger and resistance. And the reason for that change was simple. Humanity had arrived. The Galactic Alliance, once broken and hopeless, now stood united behind Earth. Their ships were being upgraded with human tech. Their soldiers were being trained by Earth's finest. But General Elena Ward knew the war was not over. Not yet. The Zorth still held hundreds of systems. Their forces were pulling back, gathering strength for one last stand. And deep within the galaxy's darkest region was their hidden stronghold, a fortress called Oblivion. Oblivion Fortress floated near a black hole. It was protected by gravity fields, shield walls, and asteroid barriers for years. No one had ever gone near it. The few who tried never came back. Inside, what remained of the Zorth High Command gathered. Warlord Krez, still alive but scarred, stood at the center of the war chamber. His voice was cold and sharp. "We will not run. We will not beg. This fortress is unbreakable. Let the humans come." His officers nodded. Though many were afraid inside, they had seen too many defeats, too many ships lost, too many brave fighters crushed by the strength of Earth, but they obeyed. Because there was nowhere left to go. On Delvoro Prime, the Alliance Council met for the final war plan. General Ward stood before them. She wore her black command uniform, her face calm and strong. "We hit them now," she said. "Oblivion is the heart of the Zorth. If we break it, we end the war." Some council members were worried. "The fortress is too strong. No one has ever reached it." Admiral Korvik stood beside Ward. "No one until now." Ralvik, the quiet ambassador who once begged to call Earth, finally spoke again. "They said humans were too dangerous to trust, but now we trust no one more." The council gave full command of the final attack to Earth. The Allied fleet began to gather. 300 ships from over 40 alien races formed one massive armada. At the center stood the human fleet, with the Iron Dawn leading the way. Earth also brought its final weapon, something never used before. A giant space carrier called the Titan's Hand. Built in secret and armed with the most advanced AI systems ever made, together, they flew into the dark. As the fleet approached the region near the black hole, the space grew strange. Lights bent. Stars disappeared. "Steady," Ward said. "Stay in formation." The Zorth saw them coming. Their sensors screamed. Alarms went off. Warlord Krez watched the screens. "They dare come here?" He hissed. "Let them try." He ordered every ship, every weapon, every drone to prepare soon. The blackness of space lit up with war. The battle began. The Zorth launched wave after wave of ships. Energy blasts flew in every direction. Some were pulled by the black holes. Others collided with broken asteroids. Human fighters zoomed between enemy lines. Drones created shields and laser walls. Alien cruisers fired together in perfect timing. The Titan's Hand opened its side panels and launched hundreds of strike units, small, fast, and armed with advanced plasma cutters. They hit enemy hulls like metal bees. The Zorth fought back hard, but they were tired. Their ships were older. Their tactics didn't match Earth's speed and surprise. Then, something unexpected happened. A small team of human Marines wearing special suits, launched from a hidden platform. Their mission, enter Oblivion Fortress. Led by Captain Juno Hale. They used stealth cloaks to slip through defenses. We'll cut their power core, she said. Once it's down, the fortress will fall. Inside the fortress, the Marines moved fast and quiet. Zorth guards were slow to react. Soon, the human team reached the core chamber. We're planting charges, said Juno. Suddenly, the alarm screamed. Zorth soldiers rushed in. A fierce firefight broke out. Blasters flashed, smoke filled the air, but the humans held their ground. Juno pressed a button. Charges set. Get out at the same time. On the Iron Dawn, Ward saw a red flash on her screen. The core's exposed, Ruiz said. They did it. Ward gave the order. All ships target the fortress. Fire everything. Hundreds of beams, missiles, and energy blasts struck the weak point of Oblivion Fortress. The outer wall cracked. Then it shattered. Explosions ripped through the fortress. Fire poured out into space. Inside, Warlord Krez stood alone on the burning bridge. He looked at the stars one last time. This was not our galaxy after all. The fortress exploded in a wave of light. Silence returned. The enemy was gone. The war was over. Across the galaxy, cheers rang out. People danced in the streets. Bells rang on old worlds. Fireworks lit the sky over Earth. The message was clear. Humanity had saved the galaxy. On Delvaro Prime, the Council gave Earth full honors. Monuments were built for the fallen. Statues of General Ward and her crew stood tall in every star system. Admiral Korvac said in his speech, "We feared humans. We were wrong. When the galaxy stood on the edge of death, they stepped forward. They did not ask for rewards. They did not wait for praise. They simply acted." Ralvig added softly, when the odds were overwhelming, "We called the humans, and they answered." On the Iron Dawn, General Ward stood alone, looking out at the stars. Commander Ruiz joined her. "We did it," Ward nodded. "Yes, but remember, peace must be protected, too." He smiled. "Then Earth will protect it." She looked at Earth's symbol, strong, simple, and full of hope. "Let this be our legacy," she said. "Not just that we fought, but that we stood together." And with that, the Iron Dawn turned slowly, heading home, a ship of warriors, a fleet of hope, a planet that changed everything.